them come. This is their fate.
All right. Welcome back to the House of Wolves podcast. I'm your host Deontay here with my near and dear friends Jalen and Josh. This is um what is this episode 118? We're up there somewhere, pretty close to the 120s, I believe. But yeah, we've been doing this for quite a while. But as usual, before we get into all the things we're going to be talking about, how you been? What you been up to? What you been doing? How's life going? How's life treating you? What you been playing? Talk to the people.
Yeah, what I've been up to, I've been playing a lot of Dragon's Dogma. I got almost 80 hours in that game. But I'm enjoying it.
Sheesh.
Yeah, but I don't know, it's a weird game because I think the marketing of it wasn't really, I don't know, translating well. And then the actual game came out and people enjoyed it, but it also had like a bunch of like controversy with the microtransactions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My impressions of it so far is the microtransactions don't really matter. Like I have a whole bunch of everything, like the fast travel items and the revival items. You just get a bunch of those. It's just those microtransactions make the game look bad when that's your first impression of it.
80
But
hours,
what
you're loving it, right? Pretty much.
yeah, yeah, I'm
Okay.
not tired of it. I'm still gonna keep playing. I'm like collecting all of the classes and leveling them up. And then I'll probably go and finish the main story at some point. But yeah, I'm still enjoying it. I
Okay.
did the Sphinx challenge, and it was pretty fun. Like the riddles and things weren't like super like difficult, but they're more like gameplay things that you gotta like be creative. Like for example, I had to bring a pot from point A to point B, but if you get hit, you'll drop the pot and it'll break and fail. So you got to
Mm.
think like, how can I do that? I can, try to clear the way and then bring the pot, or I can, try to be invisible or sneak around, or maybe I can carry a person to the pot instead of bringing the pot to the person. So it was
Oh.
it was fun
Mm.
doing all of those challenges, and then but what I can say is that the biggest impression I have of this game is that this is not Dragon's Dogma 2. This is Dragon's Dogma remake because
Mm.
the story and a lot of the areas and everything is basically doing the same stuff as the first game, just remade or better or different context or stuff like that. But yeah, it definitely feels like Dragon's Dogma remake instead of Dragon's Dogma 2. For me,
Mm-hmm.
that's not a bad thing. And if you're like a brand new player, that won't really matter. But I think it's interesting that they took that approach where they, we had these ideas the first time. Let's try to do them better this time. And it kind of, I haven't finished the story, but I know how the story goes. And they kind of try to make New Game Plus a bigger deal. Not that it's a lot of new mechanics, but the story changes in New Game Plus, and it kind of makes you want to go through it again just to see how it might be different. Uh, but well, I haven't got to that point yet. But so far, the game is good, and I'm trying to finish it off soon because looking to buy some new games. It's a bunch of sales on Steam, like Fallout and stuff. I saw you're playing Fallout, and I was gonna
Yeah.
buy one of the Fallout games, but I'm probably gonna go with New Vegas. But that one needs a whole bunch of like PC setup,
Oh,
so I
really?
haven't got the time to do that. Yeah, because New Vegas is a weird game where it's an old Xbox 360 game that came out on PC at the same time, but it's super buggy and like it might crash while you're playing, or like your save might
Mm.
get corrupted. And that's the PC version. And people have fixed it like through community patches, but you have to install a whole bunch of like community patches to get the game to run good. But I played Fallout 3. I like Fallout 3, and this is the direct not sequel story wise, but the continuation of that. So I'll play through it, see how much I like it, and then maybe Fallout 4 later. Um,
Gotcha. Okay.
but
Well,
as far as
yeah.
that, that's it for me.
Okay. Well, Fallout 4, yeah, it's definitely been fun just kind of revisiting it and just kind of going through that, setting up my base and all that stuff again because I played it originally on the Xbox One, so a lot of my saves and stuff is on there. And I could have played it through the PC. I think the Xbox Game Pass version would have had my save, but I still went with the Steam version simply because I wanted to play it on the Steam Deck, which for some reason it's just runs better. I'm not sure
Mhm.
why, but there's a lot of weird things on the Fallout 4, and the Steam Deck just doesn't have those, like frame rate stuff. But maybe that's just simply because of like them, you know, messing or kind of um, changing settings or something like that. I don't know. But Windows wise, it has some weird issues, so I had to do a lot of tinkering. But with the Fallout 4, I just turned it on and it was able to work. There is one thing about the frame rate being false, but I don't even care to fix it
Mm.
because it runs pretty well. But that's about it for Fallout 4. But I've been enjoying or just revisiting that and stuff like that too. Uh, what about you, Jalen? What you been up to? What you been doing? How's how's life for you at this point in time?
Shoot. Everything's smooth, man. I just turned 30.
Dirty,
Uh,
30, dirty,
Right.
30.
uh, sick.
That man, oh man. As soon as you get in them 20s, might as well just give it up. It's over now. It's over.
It is.
Nah, just playing.
We finished. Nah, this one, but
Finished.
nah, it's cool though. You know, got to catch my boy Deontay. He came up here to bring my birthday in, man. I'm like,
Yeah.
real people activity.
Real people
Real people.
activities. Enjoyed it. Had fun. Got sick because of the
Yeah.
kids, per usual, man. I don't know, man. They just always they catch something, G, and then now I'm sitting here, stuffy nose, throat, kid starting to get sore. I'm just like, bro, it's a wrap for me the next couple of days. I might have to stay away from the office. Trash.
Yeah, that is weak. Um,
But yeah.
um, as far as like yeah, so all my friends came, birthday, cool. Um, as far as games I've been playing, I finally beat Persona 3.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then I, I'm playing like Star Wars right now. I said I was gonna play Final Fantasy 7, but I was like, man, let me just go ahead and beat this Fallen Order real quick, or Fallen Jet, or whatever. What was it called? Fallen Order?
Yeah, it's Fallen Order on
The
that one,
first one,
Yeah,
yeah, Fallen
and
Order.
then this Jedi Survivor, the second one.
yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and beat that real quick. So don't know what planet I'm on. I think I just went back to Zepho or something like that. So I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see.
Well, yeah, no.
It'll
That
be
game is
interesting.
actually pretty fun if you finish it on up. It's pretty enjoyable. So
Yeah, it's cool. Like,
And
playing and stuff. I'm
just
like,
in
I like it.
time, because ain't the sequel coming to Game Pass?
I'm not sure. I thought it was
Uh,
coming to EA Play, but maybe that is going to be on Game Pass too because of EA Play.
Yeah, so
okay, well,
I've been holding off on buying it, but if I'm gonna try it out, and if it runs well, I'm gonna play through it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to run much better on the Xbox, not the PC. So it's just not optimized properly on the PC. But Xbox, once you turn ray tracing off, you can get a solid 60 without issue. So
Mhm.
play it on there for sure.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
gonna have to buy an Xbox, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Shoot, my bad. I forgot you even sold that thing. He said Chuck City. He chucked that thing. But
ain't you
yeah,
play without an Xbox though?
you can play it without an Xbox, but you got to play it on a PC
Yeah.
unless you play cloud version, which I don't know how enthused he is about playing a cloud version of it. Um, but yeah, that unfortunately that game was better experience on console, and that's where I was kind of going through my whole thing about buying a back of Xbox. Remember, because I was like, all these games I'm trying to play, like Dead Space, that game, and then there's one other that kind of made me mad, Lords of the Fallen. I'm like, bro, every game I'm trying to actually play, all have bad optimization, poorly optimized, and it's like, I might as well just buy an Xbox again and use it on that. So and those games were coming to Game Pass or had some type of form of service that I could play it on like the Xbox, but I don't know. I just didn't like it, so went and bought another Xbox. That mug's still collecting dust, but it's okay because when I need it, I have it. Hopefully Hellblade. I think that's the only game I'm gonna be playing real soon. Hopefully that one's optimized properly. So that's pretty much. I don't even know how I got on that tangent, but anything else, Jalen, before I take over again?
No, I ain't got nothing to say.
All right, cool. Actually, I had some. I got another thing I want to mention. I had Harold's Chicken, first time. It's actually pretty decent. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. You got to get the extra lemon pepper. You got to go to the right spot, right, Jalen? You got to go to the right spot. You got to make sure they put the lemon pepper all over that mug. Sometimes they be stingy. But wherever those lemon pepper spots was, that mug was fire. And then, you got the regular chicken. It's okay. So that's why I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. But if you got that right one, that right piece with the right lemon pepper, the mild sauce, I don't know. I don't know why people would like any type of tomato barbecue. That's just, that seems sick to me, but that's what they gave you. And fries was a solid 1 out of 10. But the chicken, though, that's all that matter. Yeah, that mug was a 1 out of 10. Them boys were soggy and disgusting.
Harold's fries.
No flavor, no nothing. So solid 1 out of 10. But yeah, that was pretty much our Harold's Chicken. It was pretty good, pretty decent. Like I said, the chicken was pretty decent. I would definitely go back for simply the chicken. But yeah, outside of that, I mean, I've been playing Dead Island 2. I actually went ahead and bought it on Steam because I was like, I don't mind supporting people or buying games that I actually want to play. I didn't have a reason not to. I want to keep it for forever, and they gave me the DLC, so I just bought it. But I was playing Dead Island 2. I bought No Rest for the Wicked as well. Been playing that on my Legion Go. I haven't played too much of it. I just been getting it up and running really. Which it doesn't run that well right now, so I'm kind of falling off of it for a little bit. It doesn't run too great, but it's not
early.
terrible. Yeah, it's early access, so you just take that with a grain of salt. It's not like they meant for it to be super optimized, but on my PC, it runs pretty well, so I can either play it on there, stream it, or just kind of set down those settings to low and go from there. But I can get a solid 30 FPS with some tinkering. But hey, I've been playing that. I've been playing Dead Island 2, a lot more Balatro, and Fallout. So Fallout and those three have been in the rotation. But yeah, I do want to put some time into Dead Island, which is really, really optimized on the Steam Deck and the Legion Go. So AMD being there and actually them taking their time and getting it on Epic and then getting it to Steam, I actually got a decent experience. I don't need to do much. So I'm happy for like these games are still showing well when it comes to these handhelds, especially this long into their life cycle. I really like that they are still being optimized for, and people are really requesting it, because that's what happened with No Rest of the Wicked. It was really bad when it first came out, and then a couple of days later they put out some patches simply for optimization on the Steam Deck and stuff, and it got better. So I expect that to be continuously worked on and probably be running really well by the end of that early access period. But right now it is a little bit more on the rougher side, but that is to be expected. Overall, though, a lot of people are enjoying the game. A lot of people are enjoying the bosses, the art design, everything like that. So it's a really cool game if you want to check it out. It's called No Rest for the Wicked, and it's by Moon Studios, people that made Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisp. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been doing outside of, trucking it all the way up to Chicago and back. But overall, it's been a good time. Let's move into our first topic though, so we can keep this ball going. I spent 15 minutes on that. Metaphor. I don't know how to say the next part, but it's the new Persona game technically, or at least the new Atlus game, and they just really did like a 25-minute showcase for it. And the biggest takeaways for me were they have a mix of combat technically. The mix of combat really isn't a mix because they have to be weaker than you and you can fight them and kill them easily, so you don't have to deal with a bunch of random boring fights that you know you can kill the people with. But they do have the RPG elements that Persona is known for, but they do have mechanics to speed up fights and make more the fights engaging and fun versus, just repetitive and boring. Exploring new worlds in the game looks really cool. Like I said, I'm not doing it justice because this is talking, but 25 minutes of them talking about the art design, the mechanics, the story, and the world itself was really cool to see, and look like they're really confident in the game. And I kind of just enjoyed seeing a different perspective of a world by Atlus versus just going to high school and stuff. So I'm intrigued by it, and I'm excited to see what more they kind of show. I know they're going to be showing some more stuff pretty soon, probably at the June showcase for Xbox. Because it's not coming to Game Pass, but for some reason Xbox is like their partner in advertisement right now. So even that little showcase was branded all Xbox, even though it's still coming to PlayStation and PC. So it was weird, but they got them coins, so they gotta spend them somehow. They gotta make it worth the money. But yeah, they wanted to let everybody know this game that's Atlus made is coming to day one to Xbox as well. So
Yeah. To be fair, Persona 5 didn't come out on Xbox, so they want people to know that Atlus is partnering with us now. You're not gonna miss it on Atlus games.
Exactly. So that was a big statement for them, and I'm glad they was able to get that off. But overall, yeah, I mean, I really was looking forward to more, and I watched that whole thing, and I thought it was really intriguing. So I want to get your thoughts if you did catch it, if you did see anything about the game. Are you interested in playing another Persona so soon, Jalen? That's the real question.
I don't know. I think it depends on how enticing it'd be. I seen a little bit of the gameplay or whatever. I mean, I will. It just can't. It can't drag on. Like I just need better pacing and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, agreed.
I think the pacing is the biggest thing. Like those games. I mean, obviously, we ain't got that much time, but you can make time for what you want to make, and can't have them dead periods where I'm like falling asleep playing a game.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
or things like that last month. Like I was falling asleep trying to get through that because I didn't think it all needed to be there. But again, I understand what was intended for it. So.
Okay. What about you? What about you, Josh? What are your thoughts on it? Or did you able to catch that 25-minute discussion or whatever they called it?
Yeah, it looks really good. It is exactly just a Persona game, but they just Control F all the word Persona and changed it to archetypes, and they did the same thing. So mechanically, it is a Persona game, and I think that's cool because like we talked about it a lot with Persona 3, where you enjoy it, but some mechanics are they've improved on like Persona 5 and Royale. So this is gonna, I guess, be the most modern version of like take the Persona 5 mechanics and add on to them to make them even better. So I
Right.
think from that mechanic standpoint, it's more interesting. And then this here, they're kind of like you said, they're moving away from the high school setting, but it seems like they're also trying to give um, like a fantasy world to explore, not just like I mean, because Persona is like you got a couple dungeons, but it's nothing really to go explore in most of the games. Like, so this here, if it is at least like a not fully open world, but like let's say you have a castle or something, you can go around and explore it or something.
Right.
So it's more. combat and gameplay focused, which might be good because, like Jalen said, Persona is half you in the dungeon and the other half you're like talking to people and reading dialogue. So if this can strike a better balance between that, where you still have the time to talk to people and hang out with them, but you're going to do more things, exploring, fighting bosses, finding treasure, stuff like that, the pacing might feel a lot better. But overall, I'm interested in it. Um, it's I think a niche title, even though I don't know what the budget is. It looks like they put a lot of work into it, but it's more niche than Persona. But I think it could still be a pretty good time because it's the same people making it. So
Okay. Yeah, that was pretty much my um sentiment was like I feel like I have enough trust in Persona to make a decent or weird story that I might enjoy and might be intrigued by. But maybe that formula of high school, I'm kind of over it. Maybe just having a different aspect, like the whole, getting people to be on your team or like being people to be on your side because you're basically running to be king. And that might have some more engaging ways. It's all basically still, a way to have social interactions, but it's a cool, different twist on what you normally do in those games, which is try to get people to basically, I don't know, be a friend and get their social links that way. But just different twists might be more interesting to engage with, but it could be just the same thing over and over. We'll see. I am more excited than I am concerned. That is for sure. What else? What else? What else? Any last things before we move on?
um, I had something because I read the explanation about the name, but I forgot. It's just something basically metaphor for fantasy is the name.
Mm.
And the whole point is that they're taking what they did before and changing it to be something different, but we're still gonna have those same elements. So that's the whole point of the name. So I don't know why they named it something weird that's hard to pronounce and market, but at least like you said, we got trust in the developer, so I'm willing
Yeah.
to try it out.
Yeah, I think that's the key, I guess, is just trying to have trust in them and what they're going to be. Yeah, just basically having trust in them. That's all I can say because metaphor is a weird one, but I trust them that they have an explanation or something of that nature. Maybe it's not something they're going to continue to reiterate on. Maybe it's just a one-off thing, but overall, right now, it strike my interest at least. Next up, very quick, but I wanted to talk about it because I think optimization has been such a huge issue with me and everything. That um, Unreal Engine basically, and Unreal Engine 5.4 was recently announced. I'm obviously not a developer, but what I did take away from this is that Unreal is becoming easier and easier to use in the developmental process, and it is starting to build on a lot of the technology that they have introduced in 5, making it better, optimizing it better, allowing things to be moved and worked in a more seamless manner. And I believe what it is doing is to strike a balance between creativity and functionality. I really wish, I'm really glad to see a lot of the type of methods they're using in regards to optimization, small, shrinking the file sizes and understanding that everything doesn't have to be a large file in order for it to look great. So I have heard that a lot. I have seen it a lot. Every presentation, I've seen some new overview trailer that just came out talking about Marvel, the 1943 game and stuff like that. And I just wanted to mention basically and it kind of get y'all thoughts on optimization truly because it's just a terrible mess right now. But um, when you see that type of stuff, do you get excited? Do y'all not care? I don't know because I feel like you have to have the right people in place in order for that stuff to be worked well. But at the same time, Unreal Engine sometimes tries to fit so many bills that it doesn't really end up working well for everyone. So I guess what are your thoughts on Unreal Engine 5.4 leading the way, and do you feel like they're doing the right things?
I think overall it's pretty positive because Epic Games, they do a lot of really cool technology with Unreal Engine, and I think
Mm-hmm.
overall it's the most advanced and most accessible engine. Like there might be more technically advanced engines, like maybe the Decima engine or something like that, but those are not like open for everybody to use. Where Unreal Engine can give you all of those same features, but open for everybody. The only drawback is that we're probably not going to actually see a lot of these features for a very long time. There might be some smaller games like Remnant. Was it Remnant 2 that they try to release on the a more recent version of Unreal Engine? But really, the big AAA games, they're kind of just because the game is so big and it takes so long to make, they don't switch versions or like add new features in the middle of development because that can cause
Mm-hmm.
issues. It's part of the reason why Final Fantasy Rebirth is Unreal Engine 4. It's not even Unreal Engine 5. So they're missing a lot of features that could have maybe easily made the game
Hmm.
better as far as like technical performance. But they have to go through the process of backporting it because we want to keep the same version, but we want to bring some of the future features back to this version. So we got to do that manually or something like that.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we won't see the benefits of it right away.
What you think? 7 years?
One
5 years?
Well, I mean, like I said, smaller games, you might see a smaller game come out with it pretty soon. But as far as like a AAA game, like when did that Captain America game come out?
They didn't
Um,
even say. I think it said something like
okay,
2026
yeah,
or something.
yeah, it's gonna be 2 3 years before we see that, and at that point, that Epic's gonna have new, better stuff on the horizon as well. But one thing I was gonna say is one thing bad about Unreal Engine is not that uh, it's necessarily the engine's fault. It's that all of these features are amazing, but they still come at a uh, some kind of cost
Mm-hmm.
on the computer, whether it's like a CPU cost or like frame times or storage or something like that. All those issues can be solved, but it just means that you kind of have to have a someone with that expertise. So, let's say that we're able to reduce the file size a lot for the game.
Mm-hmm.
That might cause a issue elsewhere, and for a bigger company, then you would just have somebody who's able to remedy those things. But when you don't have someone who could do that, or it's like really difficult. That's why you get games like Jedi Survivor, which is a Unreal Engine 5 game, but it has frame time issues and it has it had other issues at launch, and like some of those they were able to fix. But like you said, the PC version is still kind of messed up because you got all these Unreal Engine 5 features, but they
Mm-hmm.
have some sort of performance tax elsewhere that you have to be able to compensate for, and not everybody can do that.
Facts. Okay. Well, no, not. I mean, that makes sense, and I wouldn't want them to rush anything out there, and I especially seen the cost of that, as you stated, with Star Wars, stuff like that. But um, that is troubling, I suppose, because as I do want these stuff to come out and start to get better, I seen what happened when someone rushed it and wasn't so hot. I'm not saying that. I don't even think Jedi Survivor was in Unreal Engine 5. I just know that they were rushing techniques that their engine was not ready to handle, and it kind of caused poor optimization. I guess what I'm looking forward to is that if Unreal Engine is more so universally used, that there is some synergy between what it works well, what doesn't, and kind of get more feedback more quickly in regards to what can be changed and updated and switched. But at the same time, it's scary because we know what happened with Unreal Engine 4 with compilation stutter on every game basically that ever ran on it, and it felt like it was no real fix. So um I'm happy that they are continuing to push the envelope because I feel like that is the only engine right now that is truly trying to usher in the next gen. But yeah, it is concerning when you really think about it from a high standpoint, from a bird's eye view, is that this could potentially introduce things that we weren't even expecting and were thinking would fix. So um, I don't know. I'm still going to be optimistic on it. I think right now, with the amount of money they have, they will be the ones that can throw money enough at it to fix any kind of particular issues with their engine. I think I think that's key to their success right now. I think their innovation has come from just this overarching success of Fortnite and everything else that comes along with owning a huge franchise like that. Not franchise, but you know what I mean. That entity itself prints money. But okay. That's all I had on Unreal Engine 5. I just wanted to kind of talk through it and see your perspective, and I think you made some really good points on that. But next up is Destiny 2 Into the Light, the launch trailer. I think this comes out in June, but they had a launch trailer as if it came out soon. They are playing Nostalgia Wars, in my opinion. Bringing K back, obviously. They're using weapons that we haven't seen in a very long time. The Icebreaker, Outbreak Prime, things like that. They are really trying to layer in the nostalgia to get people back. No, it's not gonna work for me. I honestly feel like I'm at a point where I just don't want to play the game anymore. I feel like they need to just start something new, and I don't find that this is going to be bad per se. I just think that it's not for me anymore. The type of game that it has become, the amount of controversy around it, the lack of innovation, it has shown me that they're truly running out of ideas. And even if they do make something great, it's so bundled with everything else that makes it a mess that you can't even really appreciate it for what it truly is. So it just becomes hard to even be on the side of Destiny for me. But at the end of the day, they make great gameplay, and I'm looking forward to their next outing. I'm looking forward to the next thing from Bungie. I just hope that this doesn't really impact them to the point where they can't get to that next point, Like, I don't want this to be the end of them simply because they had such bad years of Destiny 2. They made a bet. It was a bad bet, or at least the bet did not pay off. They wanted to double down on Destiny 2. That bet has put them in a position now where Destiny 2 is their make or break, and unfortunately, it's a lot of it has been break for them. So I'm just waiting for their next iteration, Marathon. I'm waiting for the next thing, and I definitely wholeheartedly will jump back in to play something new from Bungie, because I think that's where all their creativity is going, and I understand why that may be. So, yeah, that's all I had on Destiny. Any thoughts on Into the Light, Jalen? Are you going back? Say yes, man. Say yes so we can pick it up, man. Say yes so we can pick it up.
Sorry back to playing
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I gotta put that on my Christmas list. When it come out, June? Might be $10 by Christmas. Might hop back in there on that time, G. One time for the one time, we might as well go push Atheon off one more time. They got Fatebringer in this mug too. Icebreaker, Taylor. You see, they trying to get everybody and their mama back up in here. I'm like, bro, it's so funny.
They brought Gallahorn back.
Oh, they been brought Gallahorn back. That was their trick 2 years ago. This is the new tricks is to bring the rest of that stuff back now, man. They said rinse, recycle, repeat. I forget how it go. But they definitely just repeat a lot of stuff, and I mean, like I said, it's okay. I'm not gonna hate on them for like making you buy stuff you already had twice, but what I will say is that there's value in the legacy of Destiny, and then there is what they're doing, which feels cheapened because they're not bringing it back in a manner that truly fits the legacy of Destiny. It's just bringing it back to get people to come back to the game, and that's not right to me. It's unfortunate. So, but yeah, that's all I got on Destiny. What about you, Josh? You strapping up your
Um,
boots? You putting on your
uh,
axiom bolts?
no, because you said they bringing back Outbreak Prime. I was like, last time I played, didn't they bring back Outbreak Prime
Yeah, but I think
4 years ago?
I think they're bringing it back. Yeah, and I think they took it away for some reason, or it's now like going to have the specs that it had previously. I don't know. It's either one of those two, but I think it
That
is. I think
that's
it
the
was
problem with
vaulted
it.
and coming back.
'Cause, I remember last time I was playing, I was trying to do the catalyst for that gun, and now
Mhm.
they bringing it back, and I'm have to grind the gun and do the catalyst again and all this
Uh,
other stuff. Uh, no, thank you. But no, I Destiny, like you said, is always was a fun game, and I do still feel like I'm interested in when they make the dungeons. But the whole lot of work that you have to play that content is what I'm not interested in, and also is expensive because they make you buy the most recent expansion, and also you got to get the other expansion. Sometimes they bundle it together, but you basically have to invest so much just to play it. So that's why I'm kind of, if I ever
mhm.
go back to Destiny, it would be more of a final DLC version where it's like, okay, we got Destiny 3 coming out or something, and this is the last DLC, kind of like what they did with Iron Lords or something like that for Destiny 1.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
and then yeah, then at that point, I can go through, play all the content, and like this is the end of the game. I could just enjoy it, the final version of it. But yeah, I'm
Mm.
not going to keep up with every expansion and stuff.
I mean, no, that makes sense. I mean, they it really isn't meant for us anymore. I'm gonna be honest. It's I don't
It's
know
a
who it's for anymore, but it ain't for us. So
it's a young man's game.
I don't even think it's a young man's game. Yeah, 30 and up, you can't play no more. So Jalen just lost that one.
Ah,
Uh, he could have played a couple days ago, but now it's over. It's like, no.
man.
But yeah, it's just not one of those games anymore that really piques my interest, and it's unfortunate because I put way too much time into that game. But it's just not there anymore, man. It's not there. Um, but yeah, let's move on to our next topic here. And the next thing I kind of wanted to talk about was um I think we kind of already touched on it, but I kind of want to touch on it again because they are starting to pick up a lot of steam, and people just truly value what these are and what they can do. And I'm talking about handheld gaming and just the value behind that. Um, and I understand that most of the time it only works well when you're someone that's always on the go and you can't really sit in front of something, right? And it has a lot of value just for from that standpoint alone. But a lot of pickup, or at least a lot of the steam that has been coming from these handheld PC gaming, is that these are now becoming people's primary source of gaming versus their secondary. This is now their primary gaming source, and a lot of people are opting to buy these before they even own a gaming PC because of the value proposition that they have, as well as the ability to be kind of more user friendly on the approach to PC gaming, especially when it comes to the Steam Deck. The Windows PC handhelds, not so much, but the Steam Deck, that is like sometimes people's first introduction into Steam gaming in general. Um, and my thought behind that is the rise of these handhelds have told me that one, a lot of people that are younger than us, but also our same age, are steering away from consoles in a lot of ways. Two, they don't care where they play their games; they just want to be able to play them. And they don't even care if it's like the best graphically, um, and like because obviously everybody knew that because we can look at the Switch's success. We can tell that graphically it doesn't matter. People just want to be able to play their games where they are, and they find value in having that ability to do so. So handheld gamings in a correct format has taken a big leap forward, and we have seen the success from that. Um, my thought to y'all is that do you find yourself gravitating more towards your Steam Deck as of now as your primary source of gaming, or are you currently still keeping it as a secondary source? Before I kind of open it up to the next question, I just want to kind of get y'all pulse on the Steam Deck itself for you guys. Do you find yourself thinking maybe I should buy this on Steam because I have it forever and cheaper, or it runs well on the Steam Deck? How do you guys approach gaming now, prior to when that Steam Deck arrived? I start with the Steam Deck only because we all got it.
You can take it first, Jalen.
As far as it being primary for me, probably not.
Mm-hmm.
It's only good when I'm like actually like moving around and got like some type of downtime while I'm in transit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't really. I mean, you can play it in bed and stuff like that. Like, but my place not that big. You finally seen it. So I was like, I just got my TV and I just play that. Like, I play the consoles and things like that. As far as like decision making, if it's a longer game and stuff like that, I'm like, well, maybe I might want to try to potentially be able to put it on my Steam Deck so it give me some flexibility to play in other places and stuff like that and do small things similarly how you do with Persona. But I mean, to answer your question, I don't. It's not like anything primary for me. I'm newly
Mm-hmm.
acclimated to it. You said it took me a while to start playing my Steam Deck. So
Okay. Cool. 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 What about you, Josh?
I've primarily been like a handheld gamer for a while, but I feel like now it's 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
Really just depending on the performance of the game and then the genre. Because like I if I can, I would love to play the game handheld, but a lot of games just don't run well. For example,
Right.
Helldivers, like I got to crank it down to look like a PS1 game to get it to run at 30 FPS. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I'd rather just play it on my PC and then possibly stream it whenever I need to, play it on the handheld.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that I really feel like the type of game matters because like I tried playing Call of Duty on like Steam Deck or even like streaming it, and it's like it's okay, but I feel not um fully competitive, so I don't enjoy it as much, and I'd rather just sit down and play with, like a real controller. And so if I
Right.
feel like I got to use a DualSense controller on my Steam Deck, I might as well just play it on my PC. But that being said, I when I'm buying a game, I'm always thinking about how is it going to run, because I might want to be able to play it on handheld, just because the convenience is always there.
Right.
Whereas like your PC or your console, like you're stuck in one place. That's a big difference.
Yeah. So I guess I'm a little bit leaning towards primary gaming for me, simply because of my situation, and I really can't sit down and I can't really have I don't have the ability to sit down and play a game anymore. It just doesn't happen. It rarely happens for me, and when it does happen, I find myself gravitating to games that I can play on the Steam Deck versus games that I cannot. And as time has gone on, it has allowed me to stop buying games that I can't really play on there. because it just was like there's no point because I'm not gonna get to it unless it can run well on the Steam Deck, and so it has become my primary light for like, okay, if I'm gonna buy something, it gotta run well on the Steam Deck because that is mostly how I'm going to get to play it and get access to it. And most of the time I don't like streaming. If I'm really really looking forward to a game, I will stream it, but most of the time I want it to run natively. And luckily Dead Island 2 runs really really well on there, and I'm able to kind of play through that game on there now. And I've had that game for what, 2 months, no, a month and a half now, and I played on the Xbox for like a day and immediately kind of ran to like something else that I was able to play on my Steam Deck, like Fallout 4. And I feel like I'm making those decisions based off of just convenience and like not being able to sit down and just play the game. So I rebought it for that simple reason, because now I can dedicate the time and it's on the format that I need it to be on the most. Um, and I have to believe that it's not just me. I have to believe that people that are actually owning these devices, because it is a big seller, especially the Steam Deck. Um, they are making decisions around the Steam Deck as well. People are buying games and understanding that there is buying power behind having an optimized game that runs on the Steam Deck. Now, the great thing about that is that these games are becoming better, more optimized out the gate, and they're starting to provide more of a better experience overall simply because of their playability on the Steam Deck, which is great. But um, my whole point to all of this is simply saying that I like when stuff like this happens. Like, it changes the habits of my gaming and it changes the way I game. Like, I don't do any more dead scrolling. Like, I won't get on TikTok, I won't get on Instagram and just start scrolling. I'll pick up my game and start playing. I'd rather do that than kind of start to just get on TikTok or whatever and start to mindlessly just be entertained by something when I can really just substitute that for a gaming console. I love how that has changed and transitioned my brain to work. And I also love that I'm getting more power. And the fact that I'm buying games that are going to stay with me forever is really a value add. Obviously, I'm not gonna get to all these games, and that's the end of the day. That's what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna get to all of them. I'm just gonna have them. I might be able to play most of them in some capacity, but they're gonna be with mine forever. And I really really enjoy that aspect of not having to split up my catalog anymore. I'm kind of over buying any games on these consoles, and that's simply switching my brain from that to this has really helped me with, buying games I'm not going to be able to get to anyway. And I think that as time goes on, as we get the Steam Deck 2, the Steam Deck 3, those that value is going to stay there because I still have all those games I had before, but I'm also going to be able to play new games, or the games that I had previously, better. It's not like I have to wait for a Xbox One Series XX2 or whatever they call the next one, patch to make it run better. It's just going to natively run better. And I think that's the idea behind Xbox and, having their games be able to be unlocked frame rates, because they want additional power next time around to be able to be used. But with the PC, I never have to worry about that. So I am finding a lot of value in having a PC-like freedom and a more console-focused platform. So SteamOS has unlocked that for everybody, and I can't wait for other people to start copying it. I can't wait for Windows to start copying it. I can't wait for a lighter version, so that way everyone can enjoy the benefits of a true changer in the gaming market, because we haven't had anything like that in a while. And that's why I kind of wanted to talk about it, because I see the value, I understand the value, but I kind of wanted to see how far along you guys are when it comes to decision making. It seemed like y'all kind of still 50-50, still in the same position, which y'all kind of stated. But I am definitely 75% to 80%. I'm playing on my Steam Deck, and if I can't, that game gonna probably sit for a while, kind of like Final Fantasy. Even though I had fun while I was able to get time to sit in front of it, but I just don't have a lot of time to sit in front of it, so it's just not going to continue to happen. It's going to be one of those slow burns, and the only reason I was able to do Persona like that is because I bought the Windows handheld and I was able to download it and continue to play. So it's tough. It's just tough, and it's a tough one to kind of overcome. But I do feel like down the line, as we continue to get better iterations of these Steam Decks, they're gonna be able to run Cyberpunk ray tracing with no problem. So I just can't wait for those times, and it's gonna be cool to see, because that is the value. And when it comes to PC gaming, is that your library continues to grow, but it stays with you, and you don't have to worry about that stuff breaking up. And as of now, a lot of people are not interested in buying games right now. They'd rather be subscribed to a Game Pass service. So being able to continue to build my library in a way that is beneficial, because that games that I was not buying on Game Pass, when they get cheaper on Steam, I can just rebuy, and hopefully at some point Xbox allows me my saves to cross over, because I doubt they'd do that, because there's just not much left of the Xbox ecosystem that really keeps me there. But I think Game Pass will be the value for them, and they don't really care about what you buy from that outside of that. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see what it does. Can't see what that kind of future holds for handheld gaming. Next question: do y'all think y'all would ever buy another, like a PS Vita or a PSP ever? Like something branded by a business or a company that is closed off. Obviously, I'm gonna probably buy Nintendo Switch 2. I think. I don't know. What are
I
your
mean,
thoughts
just like
on
a
Nintendo
handheld
Switch 2?
thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so which one? Which question?
I would say, which do you feel like you will buy if they had a new iteration of that, like a PS Vita, something that had that was proprietary technology that only worked with a certain amount of games, or certain things that worked with your PS5 or something like that directly? Do you feel like that's enough to buy?
I mean, I guess it just depends on like what's been offered. Like you said, the Switch too. That's like so on the same line. So I mean, a Switch too. Yeah, I get that, a PS Vita or something. I mean, potentially, but I mean, it just depends on like what's being offered, like what's been drawn there. I
What's
don't
what's
think
it
that like
capable
Steam Deck.
capable of is more so, or is
Yeah,
it like
I
okay,
was. Yeah, I mean, what's it capable of? Again, I'm not expecting it to do anything like as a Steam Deck would. I was a computer and stuff like that too. I think all that's cool, but I mean, I think like most consoles and things like that, it depends on what's on there. Like the main reason I got a PS5 is I had a PS4, and I needed to upgrade it because there's gonna be other games that I might want to play on there or whatever. So let me go ahead and get the PS5. Likewise, if they came out with a Vita too, well, what games they gonna have on there? Do I want to really play them and
mm-hmm,
stuff like that? Do the interface work well? All that type of stuff. So, um,
okay,
but yeah, I mean that would be the biggest thing. I won't really put them in the same category as like a gaming PC. The only thing I will say is, or like a gaming handheld PC or whatever. The only thing I will say is that the Switch is actual, like like their dedicated console. Like they put their they put their foot in their games or whatever. Um, the things like the Vita, um, sometimes like even with the DS and stuff like that. I don't like playing light versions of a game.
right,
So I felt like when I reflect and think about it, the PSP games, a lot of those games were light versions of an actual like PS2 game or whatever, or
yeah,
PS3 game. Like they had the GTA, the Ratchet and Clank, stuff like that. They just had Dexter on there, and then you could see the world was just not fully fleshed out, or it was like a lot
mm-hmm,
of assets that wasn't in the game versus you book. So I felt like I got a smaller version of the game, and I didn't really like that personally. Like that was a turn off with the PSP and stuff like that, which is why I opted to not play a lot of the PSP games. But
mm-hmm.
they basically, if they make good quality games though, and I feel like they just not a little light version, I'm good with it.
Okay. So would a PS Portal be more your speed if or I mean obviously that thing is already out. If it had functionality to play full-fledged fat games that, the PS5 could play, would a handheld experience that was native to that, would that be more your speed, I suppose? Because I guess that is what you're asking for. It's just not having a light version, natively being able to run your games that you own on your PS5 or PS4, and that experience being simply that. Would you feel comfortable um, building out a library or continuing your library with the PlayStation?
Mhm. Potentially, I used to like smaller like handhelds and stuff like that, but again, most times I prefer to play like on a bigger, better screen.
Right.
Um, and then with the sound component and all that type of stuff too. So, I'd much rather do that than having like the portal or something like that. I don't really care to do that. Maybe if I'm in a bigger house and you got your circumstances with your family, and then you got different rooms and stuff like that. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's a good thing for you. Me personally, y- y'all know I'm prone to falling asleep. When I try to play games in the bed, I go to sleep. Like I fall
Right.
asleep anytime I'm laying down. So I can't sit there and play the game there. So
Hmm. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. It's like more situational than anything, I guess. I guess I was more so
yeah,
looking from your perspective on whether or not
handheld.
that there is a value in owning or having your library continue to be natively played on a handheld elsewhere, but if it's only simply because what it does for me right now, and I guess I'll explain why I'm asking, um, is the Steam Deck has created a kind of a rift where I would natively want that to used to be happening, like on my PS5 because I have a large library there, and then on my Xbox I have a large library there, but it just feels like it's inadequate and it feels less than when I have a PC that can play on different stores, still has access to Game Pass, and I find value in emulation, which Nintendo is never going to stop. So that and that's in itself gives me a lot of more worlds to play around in versus one world, which is the PlayStation's world or Xbox world. Um, I do find value in owning a Nintendo console simply for gaming and for my family stuff, but I don't find value in playing my games on that Nintendo console. My games,
Yeah,
more so the single player, the ones that I don't have to play with friends and family, like a Mario Party or like a Mario Kart or Smash Brothers, like games that I'm like single players games only. Like I don't find value in having being tied to their I don't sometimes underperforming console versus playing those single player games where everybody's just having fun. Nobody cares about graphics or anything like that. So that's why I'm kind of trying to get to that. I try to get your perspective on that because I know that that is a little bit more closed off versus what we kind of have the opportunity to do now. So, um, but what about you, Josh? What's your thoughts on handheld gaming per se, and like having a branch of a console? Do you find value in that as of now?
Um, well, piggyback on what y'all said, I think there is value in the Nintendo console because that is besides emulation, but that is their target platform. That's the only place to get their games
Right.
officially. So there's always going to be value there because if I want to play the next Zelda game, that means I need a Nintendo console. Uh, PlayStation, however, I don't see any value in a native handheld PlayStation device because kind of like we said before, all of their handhelds like they were unique devices at the time because like when the PSP came out, it did everything like played music, played movies, and the competition was like an iPod. So the PSP was like a better pick, but nowadays there's so many different types of devices like Lenovo and Steam Deck and all that type of stuff that I don't ever see a PlayStation device coming out being cheap and still being competitive because there's no point. There's no software that they're gonna make. They're not gonna make God of War, you know, uh, exclusive to that device. So that means you're gonna be playing the PS5 or PS6 version of God of War, and you're just gonna play a lower end version of it. And I mean that's fine, but again, like I said, when it comes to performance, you're gonna have to make a whole bunch of compromises. You're gonna lower the resolution, lower the graphics. You're gonna need a bunch of upscaling and stuff like that. So the game is not gonna look as good. So yeah, I don't personally see the point of PlayStation ever going that way because I wouldn't buy it. I'd rather just play it on my Steam Deck or something else.
Mm-hmm.
But Nintendo, I don't have that issue. I mean, we got to wait and see what their next handheld is going to look like, what the price is going to be. It's probably going to be missing features, even though it could be capable of doing it. But they had that whole point is that this is the only place you can play our games officially. Yeah. For
No, that
PlayStation,
makes
you got
sense.
a bunch of
That makes sense. I mean, there is value in that. Um, in PlayStation, I feel like with their third party support and their first party support, if they decide to no longer do PC releases and simply made a PS5, and continue to reiterate that there is an offer for a handheld opportunity if you want to take your games on the go, I feel like that would be their win because yeah, their first party games are valuable enough to me on the PS4 and the PS5 that I would still want to have access to it. And if they gave me a reason to continue on with that library, I would have to oblige by, finding a way to be able to continue to play my games. I like fork in the road experiences where they provide you, okay, this console here is going to be able to play everything through this generation, through the PS5 generation and the PS4 generation. And then they make another one that can probably cover the PS6 generation. I don't no longer have to buy a PS5 or a PlayStation per se, but I can use that as a way to continue to play the games that I can't have access to on the PC. And again, that is not their idea because they wouldn't have started doing what they done. They already started putting on their games on the PC, so it negates that point. Like there is no reason for me to feel like they're not going to continue this way because they are broke or not broke, but they are not performing well, and they have to make decisions to kind of continue to be able to bring new games out and stay afloat. So this is not like a decision that's going to be had. It already has happened, and I think a lot of day and date PC and PS5 games are yet to come. But yeah, this is just my thoughts around how they would be able to tempt me to buy a PS5 handheld or something like that. Because if they were to do that and close the walls again, I would have no choice but to continue to because there's plenty of games that they have that sells consoles for me. Not maybe for y'all, but God of War and things like that. It Horizon will sell a console for me, but um, maybe not Spider Man. But I still at some point want to play it. I just know that if they're gonna bring it to PC, I'm gonna wait for that. But if they don't, and they say, "Hey, this is the only way you're gonna be able to ever to play this game," then that tells me I have to get back in line with what they may want to provide us, and that's fine too. I won't enjoy it, but I don't think that's going to happen because they broke, or at least they're not making enough money to do that. So, um, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I had. Anything y'all want to follow up on? Anything I said that y'all want to mention before we move on? All right. Well, there isn't much I wanted to talk about this week. I mean, there is a few other things, but the biggest thing for me was just to let you guys know that No Rest for the Wicked was really good. Fallout 4 was really optimized and runs well on the Steam Deck. And the last thing was, and it kind of ties into everything that I was just talking about. All the Xbox games coming to PS5. Obviously there was only four, but they're all over there now, and we have tech reviews, or at least the tech specs of what these games run like on these on the PS5 and the Nintendo Switch and stuff like that. I know we spoke to it in volumes about it last time, but I kind of want to bring it up just again for a quick reminder that Sea of Thieves, Grounded, Hi-Fi Rush, and Pentiment have come to the PS5 or the Nintendo Switch in some way, shape, or form. I don't believe all of them have went to the PS5, but maybe they all did. It was Grounded, Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush definitely went, and Pentiment went. So all four of them went to the Nintendo Switch and the PS5, and nobody died. You know, that's what I'm saying. Nobody lost their life. I really feel like the console war stuff is pretty immature at this point, and it doesn't even make any sense anymore. But I just kind of wanted to talk through how much of a huge story this was and how little it is now, and how much something can change based off perspective, understanding, and how everyone just felt like every game was going to be coming to these consoles and it's going to be a huge mess. And as of now, if you talk to me today about like that whole storyline of what happened and what is currently happening now, I would still be fine with them sending most of their games over there. I really wouldn't care. I don't really think I've ever been the Xbox kind of guy. I never really liked all of their games to begin with. I've always been looking for new games that I enjoy. As y'all know, I was never a big Halo guy. I kind of got jumped back into that with the Master Chief Collection, technically. And the only one I played was Halo Reach. No, was it Reach or was it ODST? Whatever I played with Josh. Is the one and only Halo game I've actually finished. I didn't even finish Halo 5. So I guess I'm going on a tangent. The point of this is to say, y'all need to stop tripping. I understand that y'all want Xbox to be bigger than the Sony, but if you can't tell that they already are by now, you really don't know business. They have one of the largest publishing companies out there, and they have Bethesda. They catching W's based off of TV shows right now, and they not even doing nothing. Understand that the amount of content, simply off the content alone that they have to work with, makes them the bigger company at this point. And if you just don't get that, they can throw away half of their catalog and it still wouldn't matter, because the company itself is stronger when they do that, but also simply because what they have and what they own at this point. So I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, to be honest, when it comes to Sony and how everyone feels like they're in the lead right now. Once that acquisition went through, man, there is nothing you could tell me that tells me that Sony is in the lead. Nothing. They always sold consoles at a loss. Xbox don't need to sell no consoles no more. They always had the larger catalog of games that people beloved or loved by people. That's just not the case anymore. More people love Xbox games. And you got to think about it. It's Bethesda and it's Activision. You have to think about that. Like, more people love those. They're in every freaking metric. There is nothing that tells me that Sony is doing better. It is a dying situation for them. And it hurts me to say it because I really like Sony. I think they do amazing work with their games. I don't want Xbox to the quality of Xbox hopefully will change soon. But the quality of Xbox is not where I want the quality to land. I want the quality to land on Sony's side. Um, but it everything that I've seen, everything that's been leaked, everything of them putting out a PS5 Pro when nobody needs it. These are not These are not things that people do in lead. They are pretty much yeah. I'm not going to keep saying it, but my thoughts is simple: is that these games came out, nobody batted an eye. I think more games will come, and I think as they continue to provide Sony the platforms, their games, their presence will be pushed further, and the understanding behind how many games do Xbox own on that platform is going to be more noticed, and it's just not going to be a big conversation anymore. It's just going to be a known that Xbox has bought themselves the first position. You can't tell me otherwise. So just be aware of that. Before I wrap it up, anything y'all want to comment on, talk about, or anything on that last topic before we get up out of here? Because this is going to be a shorter than normal episode.
You want me to talk about Persona? No, it's fine.
3? Did you finish it? You finished it, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you did say at the top of the hour. Oh yeah. You know what?
Yeah, we can do a short one because I had some questions for both y'all just because 3 is different in the ending. I guess we can talk about the ending since we're about to talk about spoilers, I guess. Yes, Mira. Hold on, I got a little baby who wants some snacks. But yeah, what was your overall impression, I guess? And then I had some questions about, I guess, the ending for you. But what did you think once you actually finished the game?
I think overall, after finishing the game, I mean, I guess my feelings didn't really change. I still enjoyed the game for what it was. Like just the game itself. I thought it was a cool game. Like I get it a 8 out of 10. I did reflect a little bit after beating the game. There's a lot of things of depth in the game that I didn't like catch on to at first. Um, I think like they talk about death and a lot of things like, oh, we got to stop the evil doers. The final battle people might lose. You know what I'm saying, all that type of stuff. But I didn't really like conceptualize it because I had to look back at like yourself with Persona 5 and 4. I'm like, I feel like something always happened to the main character. I don't remember what happened to the main character in 5. But I don't think it was nothing crazy or nothing like this. But um, it was a lot of things of death. So we got Pharaoh's. He would come in and talk about. He said
Yeah,
he
he
would
come
say
to your room
something.
every night. Yeah,
Yeah,
basically he's saying your time is limited or something like that. Like that's the whole point every time he would come at night to talk to you. Or not
yeah,
Pharaoh's, the mystery boy first, and then Pharaoh's when you meet him later, he will also say some stuff like that.
yeah. So you got that going around. Um, then you got the what else was it? It was. And I mean, you got the evokers. That's kind of like a symbolism of death, right? Because they shoot themselves in their head in order to make their persona come out. You got Strega talking about they already like they know they time up. The dude Amada, whatever his name was, he was ready to kill dude. Aragaki ended up dying. He trying to prolong the inevitable. They talking about Nick's coming. That's part of the inevitable. Like it's just a lot of different like things. Like, dude, like you got to kill me so you can forget everything. So it's like, all right, death, 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 death. Um, but at the end of the day, it was just like, so your dude dying at the end of the game. It was just kind of like, I mean, I guess they kind of hinted towards these things a little bit, but it just was. I don't know. It was kind of bittersweet or whatever, but
Yeah.
I can't say I wasn't surprised by it, but it just seemed a little. I don't know. Because you're
Yeah.
supposed to see your friends on that day, but I'm like, bro, died before they even made it to the rooftop. Like,
Did he
Yeah.
die?
Yeah, he died.
Fam.
That's
I thought he was
that's the whole
sleeping.
No, that the DLC takes place after the game, and it's about like what we gonna do now that the main character did.
and
Huh? Bro, I had no
and
idea he died.
and they
Yeah,
kind
he was
of
like,
hint
he
towards.
said I'm getting sleepy, but he kind of just like passed away. He didn't like, get killed. But yeah, he passed away because he used all his energy or whatever trying to save the world. That's the basic thing.
And when he sealed like Nick or whatever, I was sitting there, I'm looking like they was like, no, don't go. Whoa, you can't. We supposed to be in this together, and you going up there to go seal them. And when you use your last, you use like universe or whatever, and it takes out all your HP in order to use it. So it's
Mhm.
like, and then at the end of it, the dudes say Ryuji or Nyx, whatever you want to call them, the Avatar, they like he got the answer to the question that everybody's always wondering about. So everybody talking about when you gonna die, when you gonna die, when you gonna die. He got the answer to know like I'm probably gonna like I'm gonna die this day. So essentially like going through the months or whatever, like you'll do like I guess like a walking corpse. Like, he just had enough energy to make it to that day. And, he knew when he was gonna die. Like,
Mhm.
so there's just saying like he got the answer to what everybody wanted to know. Like when is our time gonna come? And they said something else in a game about it, but basically they like, what's the point of living this, that, and the third?
Mhm.
And some of the people was kind of saying like, well, we all know we gonna die. We just don't want to die now. Like, you know what I mean? So you
Yeah,
just started thinking about that. And then I think another interesting aspect was like, I think your dude like Final Persona, I mean, I know you
is
got
the
Thanatos,
Messiah.
but it's Messiah. So it's like,
Yeah,
some shows kind of do things like this, but they kind of put it a little bit more in your face. Like this dude basically he gonna come save the world and he gonna die for everybody's sins so people can live on. Like, Jesus died for your sins so you can have eternal life. And your dude going to die so everybody else can be able to like live freely. You know what I mean? And not have to
yeah,
like die on like Judgment Day or whatever, or
yeah, and
the
also
Promised Day or
not
whatever.
have the because apathy syndrome is kind of that where it's everybody knows they're gonna die, but it's kind of affecting them more serious to where like not just depression, but it's actual like disease and you can turn into a monster. But to take away that apathy to like make people uh not just happy, but like yeah, take away all that darkness or guilt over the world at that point because of Nyx.
Yeah,
Like that's
so
why
it's
when
like,
you talk to the cancer guy, his whole situation, he about to die, but yeah, his whole point is like making peace with that, and you kind of want to make peace with that for. I mean, it's kind of supposed to tie into the character, but you don't know that as well that you're gonna die as well, but you got to make peace with that.
yeah, so I was like, all right, I was a little confused. I'm like, my dude's still alive, so I don't know what's going on. But he talking about he getting sleepy, and I'm just like, is he really getting sleepy? And I guess was talking about protecting him and stuff. But I'm like bro, dying. So like I'm confused on what you're talking about that you're gonna protect. But maybe that's supposed to hint towards like the DLC or something.
Yeah,
Um,
the DLC is called The Answer, and it's just yeah, it takes place after. But yeah, thematically, I appreciate that because I feel like it has a lot of hints that I appreciate throughout the game. And the other games have their own theme, but I feel like this one was the more not it stuck with me just because something happened to the main character to tie it all together. Whereas like 4 and 5, you have a happy ending, and that's good. But it doesn't. Nobody in the main party ever like suffers or anything, so it doesn't really tie into like the themes that much for me, at least. Like I think the worst thing in 5 was like uh your homie got beat up by the the gym teacher.
yeah,
But pretty much everybody else in your party came out pretty okay. They didn't have anything happen to them.
yeah. So that type of stuff, I was just kind of like, I mean, like you made it all the way to this day, and y'all ain't even get to see each. Like you ain't even see him before. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
um, I don't know, but Yeah, that part of. I mean, like I said, the game was cool. They kind of give you a lot of different things of death and stuff like that. I wasn't the biggest fan of the ending, and I feel like at the end of the game, I feel like I just almost started being like the main character than your character.
Yeah,
Like,
she's the main character of the DLC. She became the main character.
yeah, just the way the story was like pan. I'm like, she getting a lot of screen time, and I don't know if she felt burdened or what was going on. I know there's some of her emotions and she getting some, but I don't understand how she was really getting the emotions. And because she's still a
Mhm.
robot, or did she feel burdened that she still to do it within you? Like, all that type of stuff. So it was just kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of strange. And then like how she was kind of like, I guess like had like some romance between. It just, I don't know, I just kind of like. All right, but I felt like my dude was becoming like less important, and she was becoming a little bit more important. So,
Yeah,
not
Um,
that that's a problem. It just seemed a little odd. Like,
yeah. I honestly was clueless to him passing. Which is sad because I guess I wasn't paying attention enough. But my understanding was from like everything that was happening was just triumph. I guess I missed every part of it, and I thought death was there, and I always thought that the bad ending was probably going to have him passing and stuff like that. I never correlated that he actually passed away. I don't know why I didn't. Maybe by the time I was at that point, I was like just getting it over the scene. But I thought, when I look back at it now, yeah, he definitely passed away. But I guess my thought was is that everybody remembered and everybody was starting to kind of bring back the memory of like everything that happened. Everybody was trying to rush up there to see him. I was under the understanding that it was more so just um yeah, all of it leads to him dying, and I guess I just could
mhm.
not grasp. Maybe I
Yeah,
didn't want him to die enough, and I just felt like it was my perspective was that he didn't. But um, them truck running back, getting all their memories back, Agus being there, them seeing each other, Agus, um, obviously saying that she was going to be there for him, and as he closed his eyes, that's when they finally burst out there, and everybody saw him and Agus together. So that does give me a different perspective on the outcome. I think that that does make the ending more engaging and intriguing. I always thought the ending was just mad because I felt like, yeah, everything just happened, everything worked out. That does provide me a little bit more substance, but it's pretty embarrassing not to know that he died. So I'm trying to figure out, like, now I'm trying to go back through every line and everything that he talked about to kind of make sure I kind of got what their perspective was of death, because I thought he whispered something in his ear, right? And everybody, and that's what you're talking about, where he kind of, that's when he told him he was going to die. Is that what happened? Is that what you're talking
he
about, Jalen?
Pharaoh, the, the
mhm.
the little kid Pharaoh, whatever you want to call him, he was saying
Yeah,
like, like your days is coming. Basically, like he'll say to him like your end. So he used to say that he used to pop up like I think every week before the full moon, like a week before the full moon. I think he'd come out.
no, but remember the other guy whispered something in his ear that nobody else knew what it was. Was that him telling him the day he's gonna die?
Oh, Ryuji?
Yeah,
Or that I don't remember what he actually like whispered in his ear. I kind of vaguely remember that, but I don't
okay.
Yeah.
remember.
I don't remember, but the Velvet Room people, they also hint at it too, where they tell you about your fate and stuff like that, and if you're willing to, still go down this path. I don't remember the exact lines, but yeah, the Velvet Room people always talking about your death. The mystery boy, when you first meet him at the dorm, is talking about death, and I think uh, is their social link? Is it death?
Yes.
Hmm.
With yeah, it's death. So you're having your relationship with death, and you're talking to
Yeah. That's crazy. I feel pretty slow to miss all of that. But what I will say about that game is that I did find the story intriguing still. Um And I also felt as if it did have, whether he died or not, I felt like it had a meaningful ending. I thought more so triumph, understanding, sacrifice, but I didn't even think sacrifice in a way of that, the ultimate sacrifice, you know?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's why his name like Messiah and stuff like that. Like I think they trying to, you know what I'm saying, tried to put a little spin to it. I don't know. That's my take on it at least.
Okay.
yeah, and the Messiah persona looks like him too, like in the face. But one thing I was gonna ask is that I know y'all didn't have a hard time because y'all was kind of like over leveled because y'all did everything. Um, the final boss when the game first came out, that was one of the not hardest, but a lot of people talk about the boss was like difficult just because you have to know all of the resistances and it switches every time. But did y'all have any, I don't know, issues or any interesting parts against the final boss?
Boy, I played that game on autopilot at that point. I was cooking them.
What
It was done. Nah, I ain't had no issues.
Yeah,
about
I
you,
didn't do
Jordan?
everything. I think I was like at level 80. There's some things I started skipping. Like I ain't beat Reaper or anything like that. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was fighting that boss with a guy. Um,
Oh yeah,
like I just need to know the resistances and stuff like that so I can just what I'm saying. Plow through. I didn't feel like the boss was like super difficult because the way my personas was set up and stuff like that. But I'm trying to think. I thought it was interesting that the game actually played close to the Arcana because I didn't realize that, or I didn't realize that they paid attention to that. I thought it was just a thing for like the player kind of thing or
yeah,
whatever, because they was talking about, he keep talking about Arcana and switch them, and then one of the random Arcana, I think it's like 22 cards. One of them is death, and that one happened to be like the key thing of that game. So it's just like, I mean, I ain't really think I didn't know they did that because when I played 4, I don't remember Arcana being important. When I played 5, I don't remember Arcana being important. I don't even know if anybody even mentioned anything about Arcana in the game. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like so, but they had actually like this random Arcana is the one that you know what I'm saying.
Cool, cool. I got one more question, and it's part of my beef with Persona 5, in which I feel like they tried to do the whole Nick situation where like the world is becoming worse and depressed. I feel like that the what is it, the heart of the world or something like that in Persona 5 is just
Yeah,
kind of redoing the Nick storyline. And because I saw it in 3, I didn't appreciate it in 5. But I was wondering, did y'all feel any similarities or like this is like you've seen it before?
I didn't beat 5. So, Jalen, what you got?
um, I don't, I don't. Hold on, what's the question again?
Knicks and like
Uh,
the world of
the
Persona 5.
final
Yeah.
chapter or the final thing in Persona 5, which I forget the thing is called, but it's like there's a
The
big
world
jar
heart.
thing. I feel like you fight, yeah, the world heart or whatever. Like the whole point of that is like, oh, this is the thing that's actually behind everything, and it's making everybody sad and crazy, and it's making the world bad. And you got to fight it. Um, that, in my opinion, was kind of similar where to Nyx, where Nyx is coming and Nyx is affecting people and making them depressed and causing apathy syndrome. I felt like those two plot things were the same. And so I was just wondering if you felt like it was too similar, or I mean, you might not have noticed it.
Yeah, I ain't even noticed it till you said that. I can understand that. I think that it's similar. Again, my gripe with Persona 5, they really did this. The dungeons that felt the most important, the ones that you go through, aren't really the most important ones. They just help with what Tartarus was basically. It's almost like
Mhm.
they was unlocking. It was like a real similar thing to like Persona 3. Except 3, you just go in a Tartarus, you beat somebody at the full moon Tartarus expand. 5, you go into Mementos, you beat somebody and do something that affects the world because of the Phantom Thieves Rising. All right, now Mementos unlocks. So I don't know. To answer your question, I do see a similar theme, and just to like take it a step further, talking about like the dungeons, like that was also a similar theme to you to get to the last end of the main dungeon of the game to fight something similar to like Nick. So I thought it was corny personally, but um, my gripe
Mhm.
with Persona after you beat the people and get to the fast forward into the or actually work your way up into the point where because that game it's been told in the past, like because you're actually in the interrogation room at this moment. So like
Yeah,
um I thought if they just stopped right there after that, go a little bit further, you beat the president and all that type of stuff, then the game should have just ended. And I think that'd have been a good game
yeah,
versus
that would have been a decent point to stop. They
yeah,
didn't need
versus
the
all the
the
other stuff.
extra yeah, heart of the
They put
world thing.
they put Persona 3 in there. It's like, look, we got this little bit of Tartarus for you get some, and then go fight Neo Nix. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
I
know if
can
they
understand
fixed
that
it
part.
or changed any of that in 5, but yeah, that was my impression where I didn't like the extra ending bit of the game, and I felt like it wasn't new or refreshing. Like y'all did this before, so why are you doing it again? But yeah.
Yeah, it definitely played close to after beating Persona 3. The way they did Mementos, like how you mentioned that Nix thing, like all that just made me think about all that. I'm like, I'm literally adding on some Persona 3 to this game.
But yeah, that's all. I mean, y'all played it and enjoyed it. Obviously, that's why y'all played so much of it. But yeah, we've getting it through the Persona series. Now we just all gotta beat 4, so we can talk about 4. 4 is good. It's just uh I don't
Oh,
know. I don't yeah, it's old. They need to remake it. And we can talk about its pacing problems.
yeah,
Oh,
ain't
I
all
was gonna say, I mean, I know most people will agree that the characters in Persona 3 aren't their favorite. But do y'all have a favorite like teammates in the Persona games?
Uh, Definitely always the healers. They always keep me going. That's about
Mhm.
it. Um, so
personality or skill wise.
yeah,
I guess both. Because
Uh,
yeah, part of their benefit in 5 are their skills, but
I liked personality wise. I always like the simple guys. What's his name? I really wish it's Junpei. Is it Junpei?
Junpei.
Junpei. I find them to be fun and engaging, especially when they're trying to go after some chicks. They always have some humor or something like that. I'm fine with just those as my characters. I really don't need like
Yeah, average Joe. Yeah.
yeah. I just need an average Joe. Just want to hang out, get see the lens of the world through these young teenager horny boy eyes versus having somebody tell me about how their mama got killed or they about to die. I'm like, bro, I ain't trying to hear all that, my G. Where the nah, just where the inches at? Nah, just play. They just be going a little too deep sometimes. Like, bro, I keep it simple. I like it overarching though, like the overarching story to be deep. But when like everybody trauma dumping on you, man, like, bro, you just sad to be sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like the simple characters most of the time, especially when it comes to those type of games because they are the least you know the least amount of hurt or having to really reflect on stuff like even but I like how they did Junpei because he had to reflect on it because something happened in the game versus him just having baggage from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like I could follow his
He didn't have
story.
anything going on until
Yeah,
later.
until later, and I can follow his story and see how he develops and see how he changes, and I enjoy that because it's all based in the game versus reminded of stuff that I didn't see happen, and they want me to like feel bad for them. I guess I just have to see it in the game to really feel connected to it per se. So, but
You don't feel like he was deeper? I mean, I felt like
I'm not saying
part of
Junpei
him didn't
wasn't
want to,
deeper. I'm saying that I
or
like the
has stuff
more.
before. My bad.
I was just saying I always like those type of characters, like in the previous game, that they are just they have a arc, they have a particular arc always, but their arc is always enjoyable to see. I wouldn't say it's
Okay.
not deep though. I just don't. I'm saying that it's more of it's approachable at the beginning. You understand who they are, and then they always have a really cool way of becoming someone better at by the end of the game. So I'm appreciative of that arc, but I'm appreciative that it starts light first, so I can just join him, hang out with him, get the comedy stuff too. You know what I mean? I guess I don't know. I guess that's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no,
So
I get that. I get that. I was just thinking about when he almost didn't want the dark art to go away because he was like he don't feel like he valid, but it gives him validity. And when he was
yeah,
talking to Chidori, he was like, I mean, shoot, I mean, I'm kind of here. You know what I'm saying? He like kind of boosting himself, and he like, man, I'm really clinging to this because like I don't got nothing else to cling to. Like he's trying to find his way. You know what I mean?
yeah. He was
Yeah.
the first initial thing was, oh, this dude just jealous of me because I'm out here doing this and he just want to be my friend. And then it kind of grew into like something different. And it, initially he was just your friend. Second, then he started to become jealous, and then lastly, he started to really reflect on his life and why he doesn't feel adequate. And then we always get to see all the extra moments, like him and his baseball, and sorry, his baseball bat, and like all the stuff that kind of came out as we were going through the game. It wasn't like initially just trauma. And
Yeah,
everybody isn't like that. I'm not saying that they all like that. I'm saying that there is distinct ones that I remember and I was like, bro, I ain't trying to hear none of this. I ain't trying to hear none of your problems or stuff like that because it just doesn't. It's not engaging. Like the fat kid that was like the
Yeah,
gourmet
like
king. I didn't really
Yukari,
care.
like her whole thing, my parents died and stuff, and you hear that pretty early. And so, like,
Yeah,
yeah, if you don't want to hear about that stuff when you don't know that person that well, then yeah,
yeah.
that
So it's not something that's engaging for me because I just don't. I can't feel bad about your fictional dead parents. I just can't. But I can watch something unfold that I'm intrigued by, just like in God of War or something like that. Like most of the stuff Kratos been through, we already seen it, so it's more impactful when I see it further and how he has to kind of battle his demons. But if I didn't play those games, it would be a little bit like, okay, keep going. What's going on with the actual story? I understand in Kratos because I have played with Kratos as the God of War and kind of seen him kind of take people heads off and get betrayed by Zeus and all this other stuff, and why he's so ill-tempered and crazy versus just having the okay, Yukari just joined the group. She was cold. It wasn't cold but necessarily, but she was just more so stuck to her own ways. By the end of the game we could finally start to have a link, and it just, I don't know, at that point I already heard all most of her story, so when I got to it I just felt like it was just going to be more fleshing of that out. And I I think they tried to make it a little bit different than what I thought it was going to be, so it wasn't as bad when I went through the whole thing. But at the end of the day, they introduced me in that way, so I thought the social link was going to kind of delve deeper into that, which it
Mhm.
didn't do as much as I thought it was, which is fine. But I like being introduced to a character that's just trying to have a good time, enjoy comic relief. So,
yeah, no, that
um,
makes sense.
uh,
Just real quick,
yeah,
character I like. I think out of all the person, or I ain't played all of them, but I think the one I liked it the most was it'd probably be Ryuji.
mm-hmm,
I
Mhm.
just felt like he was just different enough. I know it's kind of like he trope like a similar to Junpei, or I forgot. I don't know if the dude named Yosuke, or he the dude in Persona 4 or
mm-hmm,
Yeah,
whatever.
Yosuke. Mhm.
Yeah, so like, but I like the Ryuji because he is just like he was treated bad, like, and he just like, I ain't trying to fit in with none of y'all. Like, I'm different. Like, his hair dyed yellow. He don't wear stuff correctly. Like, um, and then he just got like a bad temper and stuff like that. So it's like
Mhm.
he just a tad bit more different than the other ones, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, he cool by
And
me. I know he's not like the most favorite like character. People might not like him like that and stuff, but I thought he was the most
he was the
interesting one,
most
especially with the beef he had with the dude. Like, he had this active beef with the teacher. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So it was like, I just thought it was a little different. That's all.
Yeah, he was the most relatable, like average Joe, but he wasn't like overly like depressed or weird like Yosuke and Junpei. I mean, overall he was like really goofy, but he was kind of like not always funny. He was like, okay, dude, you can chill out. But he was
Yeah,
your
you like, all right, bro,
friend.
shut up talking.
Yeah, well, Ryuji, he's kind of a good mix of everything, where he got his own issues, but he's still pretty lighthearted and cool to hang out with. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got a lot of good characters. I think 5 has the most like fleshed out and like fun characters overall. But yeah, Junpei was cool. I do like Aigis, but that's because like she's like the main character. Like you gonna see a lot of her later, and like the fighting game Persona 4 Arena continues the Persona 3 story, where like everybody go off to college and then come back 5 years later and they older, and so like you'll see a lot of them and a lot of I guess later in the future if y'all keep playing Persona games. Um,
Gotcha.
from 4, I don't really like the group from 4. They were all cool, but they kind of feel like Scooby Doo characters. And then I feel like I like most of the people in 5, except for the fox dude, the painter. But
Gotcha. Okay.
that's all. They had a good Persona podcast.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys getting to this part of the show for sure. We want to wrap it up before they force me to not be able to upload it to YouTube. Unfortunately, when it gets 2 hours, they won't let me upload it, which is weird, but whatever. But yeah, appreciate you guys listening as always. If you enjoyed the content, please just like it, share it, let us know your feedback, what we could do better, what we doing good, and we'll go from there. But yeah, we'll be back next week with more topics, more things to discuss. Stellar Blade will be out by then, so I don't know, maybe somebody would have picked it up or seen some reviews, and we'll talk about it then. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll see y'all next week. Thanks for watching. Peace.